Always one.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the fall quarter. I hope everybody's doing well. Does anybody know the name of this class? No idea. Presentational, communication, speech, right? Okay, it's week 1. And it's for October 5th, 2020. Okay? So, let me tell you a little about this class. I guess you're lucky in the sense that, well, I mean, you're not lucky because we have COVID, but you're lucky in the sense that we don't meet in class. So if we did, you'd have to give a speech, right? So in this class, you will learn all the techniques you need. It'll be like a preparation class. So all the techniques you need to give a speech. But for many students who are nervous, and what you'll find out is here, unfortunately, a lot of people would rather, and I don't know if you don't believe it or not, but a lot of people, at least American people, would rather die. They've voted and give a speech in front of people. So if you're anything like that, you're going to be happy because you don't have to sit up here and have people watch you and give a speech. But that being said, I will teach you all the techniques that you learn. So if you have to take a speech class later, and in my experience, I've taken a few speech classes. Some teachers just like to push you out there to talk. And they don't give you a lot of techniques on what to do, kind of lazy. So if you take a speech class and that's the kind of teacher you have, then you'll feel lucky having my class because you'll have endless questions and reading material and notes. So you just follow them and do what's important. You can be able to do a speech in your sleep. And that's my goal. So when I teach this class, when I'm in class, my students have to give a speech at the end. But you don't have to do that here, okay? But again, I'm going to try to give you all the techniques you have in case you have to take a speech class where you perform, okay? Anyway, it's good to have you back. This is the fall now at School of the East for 2020. And I don't know, I miss you guys. I wish I could see you in person, but we'll see. Maybe that'll happen next quarter, okay? Till then, let's enjoy the class this way, all right? So I'm gonna go to the material. Okay, not the whiteboard, not yet. You know, when we go there. Okay. Okay. Probably gonna have to minimize my face again. You don't need to see my face all the time. Just the reading material is what's important so you can follow along. So again, COM 103, presentational communication. Let me step away for a second. Okay, I had to change this title, so I'll let you know what it is. This is just the material title. So actually, if you have your syllabus or registration papers, the class here is actually ENG 105, okay? And that's public speaking. Same thing, presentation and communication, right? It's different day, different color. So that's what it is here at East, okay, School of the East, English, ENG 105, public speaking, okay? Techniques will stay the same, all right? Thank you. Here we go. Let's start here at the bottom left-hand side. Okay, the adage says that talk is cheap. That's probably a word you're not familiar with right here, adage. I have some friends probably that don't know what it is. It's a rare word. It means like the saying, right? And every country, every language has different sayings, right? Once bitten, twice shy, right? So the adage here is talk isn't cheap. The adage that the talk is cheap, or the saying. Well, it isn't. Talk can be extremely expensive, both literally and figuratively. So go up to the right. The next time you attend a business presentation, make a guess at how much in salary it costs to have all those people attend. And it does cost to have them attend. It's a fee. Now factor in, which means add, the probable salary cost of preparation. That's a very important key you're going to have to remember for speeches. It would have to be at least a few $1,000s. Add to that the actual out-of-pocket expenses of preparing and putting on the presentation. Probably what they're not going to add here is if your company adds snacks and things like that, catered food, sandwiches, you name it. Then consider what the lost cause is if the presentation is not as effective as it could be, or worse, if it fails completely. That's pretty bad. Taking the time to properly plan, there's that preparation again, deliver a presentation may make or save your organization more money in an hour than is achieved in a year of routine. Superior communications lead to increased profitability that it's impossible to put an accurate dollar value on them, right? Sit through 20 business presentations and you will find them almost indistinguishable. If you don't know the word indistinguishable, that means you can't tell these presentations apart from each other. They blend together, sound the same. Another way they use the term indistinguishable is with twins. That's why we have a lot of mistakes where a man like, let's say, Mr. Naval is, dating a girl and she has a twin sister. And then he comes to pick her up one day and he kisses the wrong sister. It's because they look so much the same, identical, they're indistinguishable from each other. And the same thing with the same business. Hello, hi, I want to give a business talk. And 20 other people start the same way. Business presentations tend to be too long, poorly delivered, and completely forgettable. Again, when they just sound the same, they're forgettable. This is usually because the people designing and presenting them aren't sufficiently trained in the skills required to properly prepare and deliver an effective and persuasive speech. Anything persuasive makes you listen, other people listen to you and hopefully take your point of view. If you were watching the debates with Trump and Biden, I don't think either of them persuaded anybody to do anything. Why? Because they were just arguing with each other, right? So learn from this information. And it isn't just for corporations and professional organizations that talk isn't cheap. Competent, well-educated, talented people like you, my students, I saw the list. Oh, you guys they fit that category, right? Unless maybe one or two, which I can't mention their names. They're very dangerous. Are talented people often finding their earning capacity limited because they can't effectively communicate their ideas, particularly when standing in front of a group. So what they're talking about here is that if you work for a company that depends on sales, they need speakers to persuade investors and other people to help them out in their business. So if you're a weak speaker, you speak, like I said, let me see, Mr. Paul goes up and speaks, and he's an effective communicator. And after he speaks, 100 people sign up. Then I go up there and speak, and nobody signs up. Who's going to get the raise? That's right. Mr. Ube Pai himself, he's going to get the raise, not me. So how well you communicate determines whether you're memorable or forgettable, boring, or interesting, whether people will ignore you or listen to you. So again, we can apply these principles to dating too, right? If a man is hunting a woman and she finds him boring or uninteresting, she might ignore him, and that's the end of the dating, even if he takes her to a nice restaurant like Burger King. So continuing with weak techniques for a speaker. Again, this class is public speaking, the title. Poor eye contact and mumbling have been known to sidetrack careers. Oh, there's a lot in that sentence I have to translate. If I didn't tell you, I'm doing this recording from the chocolate hills of Bohol. That's where I am today, trying to get my own chocolate. So a Filipino man said he's going to sell me a contract to a chocolate mine, that in these hills there's chocolate inside, and if I buy a property, I can dig the chocolate out. So I don't know if I believe him or not, but I'll ask Mr. Naval later. So poor eye contact is when the people, like you see people give a speech and they just look down at their notes. They never even look up because they're so nervous. You have to make eye contact with somebody in the class, okay? I mean, actually, you should move it around to a few different people. So if you're really, really nervous, I have a technique for you. I learned this reading an autobiography about Bruce Lee. Now, he was nervous for a different way, not like, say, a regular person that, oh, they're, going to look at me and I'm so shy. He was not a shy fellow. He had a bad temper, and if anybody stared at him or made fun of him, he wanted to fight them. So his friend said, you're not going to pass the class if you're fighting all the male students in here. So a friend of his told him, just look at the back of the room and stare at the clock on the wall. That way, you don't stare at anybody and think somebody wants to fight you. Okay? Again, if you're really nervous, you could do that. All right? And then mumbling. Mumbling is when you talk like, that's mumbling. People from every culture and language do that, right? So if you mumble and people cannot understand what you're saying, it's not good. So then you have sidetrack careers. So that's not talking about an extra track on the freeway. Sidetrack means kind of kick your career into low gear. It's like the example I gave earlier about me and Mr. Paul. He's a great communicator. He proceeds and advances in the company. I mumble. I'm afraid to make eye contact. My career is going slower than, watching paint dry. So be careful about those poor techniques. Continuing, the inability to organize, clearly articulate. Articulate means to speak clearly. Their thoughts has prevented people from all walks of life from achieving their goals and reaching their potential. If you don't know potential, it's people see the potential in you. Let's say you're working at a level 5 and they say, you have a potential to be a 9. Well, you want to reach that 9. You don't want to stay down at 5. People are attracted to articulate, well-organized, forceful speakers. If you communicate well, you will do well. But if you communicate best, meaning that you look, sound, and act like someone who's worth listening to and following, you will flourish. And flourish means to succeed greatly. And I guess, again, if we put this to dating, something we can all understand, usually women like guys that look, sound, and act like someone who's worth listening to. Business leaders and professionals can no longer maintain low profiles. They now have to function effectively in an omnipresent communications environment that used to be restricted to celebrities and politicians. So what they're kind of saying here is, since we have the internet and Twitter, who knows what else, because I don't use it, people can come online and put bad information on you all the time, right? So it's very hard to maintain a low profile. One picture, one bad review, one thing, and then it just spreads like wildfire. Today's business leaders are wide open to public scrutiny. So scrutiny is when they judge you. And like politicians have had for decades, need to gain the support of a number of constituencies, right? Constituencies. That's it. I wanted to make you laugh. Constituencies, a weird word. Including peers, employees, clients, suppliers, shareholders, regulators, consumer activists, and occasionally, the most important of all, the media. If we go back to the media. So what I said, right? Constituencies are all these people that are in your circle, right? Whether they're your peers, the friends, or the people you work with, employees, clients, suppliers, they're in your circle. A successful business leader must have the ability to relate to people both within and outside his or her organization. And that's an important thing, right? Let's say you belong to a new Filipino company, right? I think Mr. Fakun is with me this quarter, right? Okay, so let's say Mr. Fakun opens up a Red Horse Filipino beer small company here in Garden Grove. Okay, and he just does it with his Filipino buddies like Mr. Paul and Mr. Naval, because they used to do that illegal jewelry business before. So you guys do it, and you just kind of, people speak in a lot of Tagalog, and you just kind of like promoting it to local Filipinos, that's okay. That's cool. But that's where it'll stay unless Mr. Facun can really relate to people outside of the Filipino community and get Koreans or Mexicans, other kinds of Americans, whatever, white guy, Japanese guy, get all these other people to start buying and drinking Red Horse, then you will reach a higher potential than what you were doing, right? Concerned citizens wishing to make a difference in their communities need to develop the same speaking skills as do people in business. Taking the time to properly prepare and deliver an effective talk may result in persuading your local council to install those traffic lights that could save lives. So that's a concerned citizen. Or you might successfully raise the funds to build a much needed playground. You have to be an effective speaker. You can't just say, "Hi," at the city meeting. Can you give us a new playground? Nobody's listening to me. Okay, bye. That's not going to get the job done. Perhaps you simply want to do a good job of welcoming your new daughter-in-law, and her name is Tall, into your family. Or as president of the PTA, that could be Titan. She'd become the president of the school PTA, which is, if you don't know what that means, Parents Teachers Association. And pay a nice tribute to a respected teacher who's retiring. Is that me? No. Whatever your purpose, a properly prepared and effectively delivered talk will considerably increase your chances of success and at the same time enhance your reputation as a leader. Oh, wait a minute. Did I go over? Because I gotta ask the questions. Okay, so for the last page, I didn't put the questions out there. I know students will cry if I don't put the questions out there, right? So let me advance and do that. Make sure I get the right ones there. Okay. So let me go to I hit new share. I'll go to the whiteboard. Come on out. Don't get tough. Whiteboard. So again, I have to get this pencil, right? Before Temujin tries to steal it again. Okay. So you ready for my first question? Okay, it's going to be tough. I don't know if you can handle it. Oh, this computer has a nice problem where it plays games with me with the capitals. I don't know why. Okay, so first one. What isn't cheap? Okay. I don't want any girls to get angry here and say, I'm not a cheap date. You got to pay over $100 on me. I know my girls are high classy ladies, except I don't know how many of my guys have that kind of money. You might want the Chosun Dynasty or Morton Steakhouse, but all the guys can afford is Tommy's Chili Burgers. Okay. 2. Still have my pencil. Okay. Oops. Wei. Am I speaking Chinese? What language is this? extend this. Let me see. Jibbity doo. Jibbity jibbity. Oh, it doesn't want to. That jibbity. Okay, that's okay. What is the lost cost? Exactly. So remember we talked about the cost of something if something wasn't performed, and then a certain something might be lost. So that's what I'm talking about. So wow, look at that. It magically changed by itself. How did that happen? Sometimes I think there's these mean ghosts following me, just giving me trouble. What am I gonna do? So, ready for 3? Yes, there's a number 3 question. Sorry. Three, how can we avoid this? Obviously, this is connected to 2. Once you get the answer to 2, which was a something, certain something, about a something or other, once you get the answer to that, then you will understand how we can avoid it, right? And unfortunately, I have a number 4. I know this is when Mr. Hong starts to cry when I have a number 4 question on one page, but that was a lot of reading there, so not like some of our stuff, which is short. Okay. 4. And last question for this page. Why are business meetings usually forgettable? Right? Giving me a hard time. Oh dear. Or as they say in Korea, omona. All right. So I had a funny student one time. It reminded me of Young Peel. You know, obviously you're looking for the correct answer in the reading. Why are business meetings usually forgettable? There's some reasons for that. But I had a student say, oh, well, I usually forget about them because I never go to them at my company. So please don't answer in that way, please. Okay, so I'll give you a few minutes to answer those. Okay, everybody doing no candles? I hope so. All right. So let me get the eraser. I haven't touched the eraser in 3 weeks. I missed the eraser. My good friend. Hello. Hi, Mr. Eraser. You know, okay. Anya. Anya. Okay. 1, what isn't cheap? Obviously, the girls in this class, they are high-level ladies. They're not cheap things. So guess what that is? Eraso. Yay. 2, what is the lost cost exactly? So again, something of the something about something dealing with the cost with speeches. Who's gone? 3, once you have the answer for 2, then you know how to answer 3, which is how can we avoid this negative situation, or if you're engaged in situation. 4, why are businesses or business meetings usually forgettable? It has nothing to do with not going to them. Thank you. All right. So we'll stop to that. And well, I'm back. I should not be here. So back to the material. Okay. So anyway, I'll read this part again. So as president of the PTA, pay a nice tribute to a teacher who's retiring. Whatever your purpose, a properly prepared preparation, third time I brought it up, an effectively delivered talk will considerably increase your chances of success and at the same time enhance, which means improve, add to your reputation as a leader. And Caroline is a big Indonesian leader. She's going to be the next prime minister. So I have to be kind to her. I want a condo in Kuala Lumpur. All right, continuing. You can't be a real leader if you don't have the power of persuasion. Usually people who are in sales, they have a high ability to persuade people. That's why they make them buy stuff they don't really need. But they're very persuasive people. That's why they're salespeople. Lying is not important, by the way, to their technique. There's little point in knowing how to solve a problem if you can't communicate the solution in a way that will encourage people to act. See, and that's a problem I have with other people who say they're teachers. You find out they're an expert in their field. And what do I need a cough drop? There's a, they're an expert, but they can't explain it to the common person, so that person will have the ability to act or learn it. It's like they're talking to them, oh, you do this, you do that, and you're done. And that person's like, I've never done this before. I don't understand what you're saying, right? Thus, you must be able to organize your thoughts to convincingly present your case. If you can't communicate effectively, emphasis on effectively, you will have great difficulty making things happen. And you certainly won't be able to make them happen the way you want them to, or when you want them to. Very important. So whether you're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, an upcoming professional in a thriving practice, thriving is another word for saying busy, successful, a struggling young entrepreneur, which is business person, or that person who simply wants to make a difference, you will find that one of the most rewarding experiences in life is standing in front of a group of people and bringing them around to your point of view. And that is true. Feels good. Every speaking opportunity is a chance to influence one person. They should say at least one person. Some people, or perhaps thousands. Perception really is reality. Perception means how you understand something, how you view it. Again, if I go back to the first, let's say, I'll define it more narrow. The first Trump and Biden debate. If you saw when they finished and they had these people, Biden supporter would obviously say, I think Biden did the best job. He controlled himself, even though the guy was pretty snappy, especially in the beginning with Trump. So this person saw it as, Biden won the debate that first time. And then you have a Trump person, and he'll say, well, he put Biden in his place and asked him questions about law and order, and Biden didn't answer. So that person's perception or how they see it is that Trump won. And then you have the middle of the road person, which I think most of us saw it that way. It just looked like two older guys just fighting, right? That was, I think, most people's perception of the reality. It would look quite different if Mr. Hong and Titan were going at a debate. So if an audience, whether one of hundreds, one of one or hundreds, an audience of one, wow, is that yourself? Doesn't perceive the speaker to be an effective speaker or effective person, then that speaker is going to fail in his or her main purpose, whether that is to inform, persuade, motivate, or entertain. Effective speakers will become today's leadership elite. Elite means a high level. And you will learn in the course of this class that those are the four speech methods, right? Persuade, which means you're going to give a speech kind of like a salesman and try to get people to believe what you say. And then there's one to inform. That's where you're just giving people knowledge. You're counting statistics, and telling people this is how many people do this and this is how many people do that. So you're just informing people of knowledge. Then there's motivate, like a personal trainer who's motivating you to lose weight. This person might be motivating you to vote, to drop smoking, right? Or I was going to talk about entertain, but motivate, yeah. They want you to change some kind of habit. A lot of the students I've had that fall into this category come from the medical field, and they might do a speech on how to cure your diabetes, alcoholism, or what have you, even smoking. And then the last one is entertain. Now, there's like a two-folder on entertain. Some people say it's the easiest, but you better have a skill, okay, for it to be successful. For if you don't, then you will probably fail badly. I'll give you two examples, okay? I had a guy, young guy, lazy guy in class, didn't want to listen to the notes, didn't want to participate, absent a little too many times, right? And he thought, well, I can just fake the speech when I get up there because I'm young, and I'll do a little rap or whatever. Well, he forgot what he was going to say. His rap wasn't that good. So he kind of bombed, right? Now, here's the interesting part, the good part. I had another lady, mature lady, Japanese woman, very shy, very, very shy. Not like my students here. right? Like Rie, right? And she also was not confident in her English. And I watched her struggle during the course of the public speaking class. And I thought, oh dear, the last class, she's going to have to get up and give a speech. She's probably going to faint, the poor thing, right? Do you know that she got an A? Do you know how? She entertained. So entertain is that you could come up and sing your speech or do whatever. So she was, or is, I guess she still is, a magician. She's a professional magician. So she started doing magic and people were just fascinated. And she was confident doing magic. So she was able to speak in English. So again, if you have some kind of high skill, like maybe Ria's good with a samurai sword, she can talk and then chop things down with a samurai sword and she'll get an A. Okay, so don't forget that. But don't come up here and think you're a rapper and you can't even put a sentence together. Yo, yo, yup, yup. You won't do well. Okay? So continuing, to be an effective speaker, you first have to know what you're talking about. And that happens too. The guy gets up there, it's like, excuse me, what's your title? Huh? What's your title? I was trying to figure that out. It's kind of late after 10 weeks. So you must have sufficiently prepared yourself through experience or study. Those are the two keys. Might be a test question. Preferably both. To talk about a particular subject, you also have to care about your topic. I mean, you don't have to care like live or die, but you should have an interest in it, right? I mean, because people can tell. Let's say I hate sushi, and I'm going to give a speech on sushi. That's would be under the inform category, right? But I really hate sushi, so I'd probably give it like, yeah, sushi's really delicious and so popular. Oh yeah, people are going to say this guy doesn't care about sushi. What's wrong with this guy? He probably cares about kare or teriyaki. What's wrong with this guy? So you have to care about your topic. It shows through, right? And you have to want to convey your message to others. Again, you can't get up there and say, well, I'm going to tell you about this information. And you don't really like it. Well, whatever. And you don't showing the want to convey your message to others. Then you need to understand everything you possibly can about your audience, whatever its size. Luckily for you guys in classes like this, you don't really have to know about your audience. But if you work for a company that they ask their employees to give speeches, that's different. And you would have to say, okay, who's the next company? Oh, General Motors. I have to learn about General Motors, right? Or Disney. Next, you have to craft or make your message in your listeners' terms. To persuade an audience to your point of view, you have to clearly show them what's in it for them, not what's in it for you. To do this, you have to present your message in a way that they can easily understand and relate to. So what this passage is trying to say, I'll make it easy. If you're, a young guy or gal and you want to give a speech in a lot of youthful slang terms, and your audience includes a lot of mature people, they might not understand everything you're talking about because they do not speak the young people's slang. So that's why you have to present your message in a way that they can easily understand and relate to. And you have to understand every generation usually has their own slang for things. You'd be surprised when they use a word or so, the other person doesn't really understand what you're talking about. Okay, I'll give you one that's easy to grasp and show you the silliness and the difficulty of it. Okay, when I was a kid, okay, everybody knows the word to throw up, right? You drink too much alcohol, you get sick, too much food, so you throw up. That's, what the doctor might ask you. So when I was a kid, the slang word was barf. Hey man, I barfed. Like that was the slang word. My parents didn't know what the hell I was talking about, right? Uh, the next generation was up Chuck. Yeah, man, I gotta go up Chuck. Okay. And then I'll never forget, I went to a party with my young nephew many years ago. Him and his buddies were in the room, I don't know, raising hell. I don't know what they were doing in there. As long as they weren't starting a fire and burning down the building. I was watching TV in the living room, and then he came in and he says, "Hey, Uncle, Steve, he Ralphed." Like, Ralphed? You mean the supermarket? No, man, he Ralphed all over the carpet. Do you mean throw up? Yeah, don't you know that? Ah, boy, okay. So there you go. In 3 generations, it changed 3 times. Okay. So again, next is finally you have to develop a winning style, encompassing, which means containing on a large spectrum. What you do and how you do it. What you say and how you say it. You got to know what you do. You got to be able to communicate how you do it, right? You can't say, well, you get the thingamajig, and then you connect it to the thingamabob, and then if it goes cattywampus, people say, what is this guy talking about? Not telling me how you do it, at least clearly. Few of us are born with the necessary skills to achieve all of this, but like playing a musical instrument, swimming, or riding a bicycle, these skills can be acquired, developed through study, coaching, and practice. Then there's an important bonus. Nothing builds a person's overall confidence as much as acquiring the skills to give an effective talk. Oops, before I get into this, I gotta give you the question. I'm being too nice. I don't want to hurt them with all these questions, but I gotta do questions from the last page. Sorry. All right, let me go. New share, whiteboard. Yeah, I've got that kind spirit today because of Tull. She's getting married. I don't know why. Okay. So here's 5. Okay. You guys are supposed to tell me, teacher, we need the questions. Okay. So every speaking opportunity is a chance to do what? An opportunity is a chance to do something. 6. What must you care about? When I had my first roommate who was an ex-Marine, he cared about, number 1, cigarettes. Number 2, alcohol. Number 3, women. Food wasn't on the list. I don't know how he survived, but that's a soldier for you. 10-4. Okay, but here, what must you care about in learning how to give a good speech? 7. Oops, come on, 7. Where's my pencil? Okay, 7. Seven is, how do you persuade an audience? So please don't persuade them with violence. Please don't persuade them by paying them money, right? There's a technique in here how to persuade your audience. Okay. Number 4 on this page. Ooh, it's gonna make James Hong upset, or Alex Hong upset. Eight, what do you need to be a real leader? You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be rich. Just follow the techniques, apply this reading. And again, it's to be a leader in giving speeches and people respecting you and raising your pay. And I have one more high goal. Yeah, 5 questions on one page. But again, it was a lot of reading. I got lost in it. I almost didn't give you the question. Oh, it's going to be a long question, but short answer. Oops, not skill, skills. Here we go. So what does acquiring the skills to give an effective talk do for you? Or what can it do for you? Which is a good thing. You should be able to say it. And it's all that one wants to do. So those are 5 questions on that page. I'll give you a few minutes to answer those. Or at least write down the questions so you can answer later if you're a slow writer. So like I said, hopefully everybody's doing well. We're in the fall quarter now, so just think about it. This fall quarter is where we're going to get all the fun holidays, right? Halloween, Thanksgiving, you get to eat turkey, mashed potatoes, und sweet potato. Guess what accent that is? And then Christmas, actually Christmas Eve, Christmas, and then the new year. Yes, hopefully COVID is gone by then. Hopefully. Okay, everybody done with those? Okay, go through, let me get the eraser. I'll go through the list again. Okay, 5, every speaking opportunity a chance to do what? Please don't say, oh, to get up and dance, I got to do my break dance. Like, you know, maybe Ken or Les Suck, are you doing break dancing? I don't know. Oh, I don't even know if they do break dancing in Mongolia. I'd have to ask ENG. 6, what must you care about? I know you must care about each other, but what must you care about to be a good, effective public speaker? 7, how do you persuade an audience? Again, do not use violence and do not use money. Only the techniques that you find in the reading here. 8, what do you need to be a real leader? Again, within the reader, you do not have to join the army to become a general. 9, what does acquiring the skills to give an effective talk do for you? It's going to give you something very nice. And it's not a cookie. Okay. All right. So let's go back. Does it want to go back? Here we go. Let's go to that new share. Okay. Here we go. So we're going to have this part, and then I'll go into a nutshell. Okay. Then there's an important bonus. Nothing builds a person's overall confidence as much as acquiring the skills to give an effective talk in front of a group. Once you become a comfortable public speaker, the resulting self-confidence will spill over into all aspects of your life, with the result that you will become a more successful and effective person in everything you do. Poise makes you the master of any situation, and poise can be learned. This book shows you how. Poise, that is the ability to do whatever you need to do when other people or situations are making your situation stressful. If you're able to do or say what you have to say calmly, then you have poise. For the third time, I'll go back to the first debate between Trump and Biden. Neither one had any poise. They're basically just attacking each other, right? So that's the definition of poise. So in a nutshell is a saying that means giving you the most important knowledge in a small portion from the large portion, or the large reading or book. You're going to get the most important stuff in a nutshell. 1, business presentations cost a lot, both in money and hours. Most business presentations could be vastly, which means greatly, improved. People are attracted to articulate, well-organized, forceful speakers. So you see, we all covered these things, but instead of reading the whole readings again, we're giving you the nutshell, the outside of the nut. 4, many people's careers are blocked because of poor speaking skills. 5, effective speakers will become today's leadership elite. 6, you can't be a real leader if you don't have the power of persuasion. 7, it isn't only business people and professionals who need to be effective speakers. 8, one of life's most rewarding experiences is convincing an audience of your point of view. Pretty cool stuff. 9, public speaking skills can, like any other skill, be acquired through study, coaching, and practice. 10. The confidence gained by becoming an effective public speaker will spill over or carry over into all aspects of your life. Okay? All right, I have one last question to run it out at 10. 1, that's it for today. Okay, get that pencil. Número 10. Okay. Last question for this week. What does poise give you? Excuse me. So I gave you numerous examples about this in the first debate between Trump and Biden. So you should be able to answer this. I don't want any silly answers, Temujin, like, what does poise give you? It gives me a headache. I don't want answers like that. Okay. So let me give you a minute to do that, and then I'll move on to something else that we have to do. Okay. Okay, grab the eraser and erase this, and then move on to something else I want to share with you. What does poise give you? Gives you a free cheeseburger. Okay. All right. Let's go up here. You share. Let me go back here. Looks like. Let me scroll down. Okay, here we go. Let me see if this comes up. Yes. Okay, I'm going to read this to you. There are no questions from this. Okay, so you don't have to remember questions here, okay? It's just kind of like something for you to think about, all right? So, making friends with your worst enemy. And that's you. Why? I like myself. I'm in love with myself. What's the issue, right? Usually if you have to give a speech, people are too critical with themselves. Your audience is kind of like, yeah, it wasn't bad. But you're like, oh no, I said this wrong word, or I did this badly. So that's why you got to stop that and make friends with yourself. Okay? Consider the comic strip Pogo waxed eloquently philosophical when he said, we have met the enemy and it is us. So you don't have to worry about waxed eloquently philosophical. That's pretty heavy stuff. Wax just means talk. Eloquently means in a very nice way. While his words of wisdom could easily relate to many areas of living, certainly one of the most appropriate applications would have to be in the challenging area of speaking before an audience. There is no doubt that the worst enemy most of us have as public speakers is ourselves. See, I wasn't making this up. There are many skills to conquer becoming an effective speaker. But probably the biggest conquest that has to be made is the person we see in the mirror each morning. Public speaking and other coronary threats, which means hard threats, heart attack, AKA, was the title used for an article by Max D. Isaacson, Vice President of Maximilian Oil Company. Okay, so we read this part here. While it is whimsically, which means funny, amusing title, most people find getting up before an audience anything but a laughing matter. In fact, speaking before a group was listed as the #1 fear. See, I told you, I wasn't lying earlier. of US inhabitants or people that live in the US who ranked 14 common fears. Fear of death was number 7 on the list. So number 1 was, I told you, giving a talk in front of strangers. Here we are. From this, we can logically conclude that most people would rather die than get up and speak. Also, consider the fact that speaking before a group is one of the 5 highest stress factors. Ooh, stress factor. Someone has said, when it comes to public speaking, many are called, but few want to get up, right? I can say, Inky, it's your turn to give a speak. Oh, no, I think I'm going to have a baby. I'll be back in 9 months. So it's usually what happens. Most of us can relate to this observation. The brain is a remarkable thing. It starts to function the instant you are born. It doesn't stop until the moment you get up to speak. So that's when everybody should be laughing. Ah, ha, 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 he, ho, 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 right? You should be laughing at that point. If you're not, well, I'm going to start crying. Okay, now this is going to be your homework here. Okay, speech of introduction outline. Okay. All right, so you can pick anyone in your life. Ladies, it could be your boyfriend. Guys, it could be your girlfriend. It could be your sister, your mom, your uncle, a homeless guy. And see, it's just a speech of introduction. So you're going to get information about the other person. It's not about you. That's later. I'm building your skills right now. That would be, if you had to come up in front of the class, it would be too scary. But I found that people can talk about other people, right? So that's why here, don't make the mistake. Like, let's say, I don't know, who's doing this? Munktuya, don't put your name here, right? You're not introducing Munktuya. You're introducing your boyfriend, right? Whoever that is, right? Johnny Depp. So we are fortunate to have as our speaker today, Johnny Depp. So you're going to interview somebody, right? And then it says here, descriptive phrase about position, accomplishments. So this person that you interview and put their name here, not your name. You're going to have to say something about their job or accomplishment or who they are, right? If it is Johnny Depp's your boyfriend, you say, he's a very famous and well-known actor. Accomplishment who won an Oscar, right? It's not about you. It's an introduction. Okay, and then these are her qualifications and experience in this field. So if your boyfriend is a DJ, then you can list where he learned to DJ, what concerts he did, what TV shows, whatever. So you list his or her qualifications. So guys, again, if it's Mr. Hong and he's introducing his girlfriend and he says, she won the Miss Korea in 2019 and later she won Miss Koreatown, Los Angeles 2020 and then later she won the Miss COVID. List the accomplishments. Okay. And then you're going to have to say why this topic is important. Why did you choose this beautiful lady or handsome, accomplished, rich man? So, I don't know, Caroline might say, this topic is important because I want to marry a rich guy and my boyfriend's rich. That's the truth. That's the truth. And then we go down here and it continues. Okay. Again, you're going to have to talk about the other person. All of us will benefit from hearing what, and then the person's name, Johnny Depp or Kim Tae-hee, has to say because, and then you're going to have to say why the class will benefit. And then Johnny Depp is a native of, I think he's from Los Angeles. So you would have to say, so Kim Tae-hee is a native of Seoul, Korea, or if Caroline wants to marry, what's the guy's name? The super rich